In the early years of my barber career, I was drinking and doing drugs almost every weekend, so I was prioritizing partying over work. So there were a lot of days where I either didn't show up, or I showed up hungover, or I showed up late and hungover. I wasn't looking after my mental or physical state, my relationship was always on the rocks, and my barber career was as stagnant as Shrek's swamp. It took quite a few years to realize that this was not for me and I wasn't living up to my full potential. I was a really sporty kid growing up and I always loved to win. I lost all of that when partying took over my life. It wasn't until I started working out again and reading self-help books that gave me traction to my life. David Goggins' book Can't Hurt Me was the one that really got my ass into gear. This was around mid-2020. I started waking up early most mornings, I started running, and I started my home workouts again. It wasn't all consistent from that point, as I've slipped up many a time since then, but that's when I started making a conscious effort to living a more disciplined lifestyle.
There was a time when I was struggling a lot at work. I was getting a lot of anxiety behind the seat cutting hair, and I couldn't understand why. It made work so miserable. Made me dread going to work every day. Waking up, start thinking I'm just going to get that behind the seat again every time I'm cutting. And it just made me not look forward to my days. And I started losing the joy of cutting hair. It wasn't until I started adding things like this. The ice bath was a really big one. With your mind being so scrambled and racing and having anxiety, it almost does the same thing in an ice bath. Your head is just like, get out, get out. It is freezing. Your body and your brain think you're in panic and it's fight or flight. But if you can calm your mind and just sit here for the 3 minutes, you can get through it. This helped me a lot going through those times. I knew cutting hair I was completely fine, obviously, because I'm just cutting hair. But the brain thinks it's in fight or flight mode and it wants to escape. This right here has helped so much. It's been almost a year of doing ice baths. I did cold showers for a year, and then I've now done ice baths pretty much for a year. And it has just helped my brain calm myself, and any time it starts scrambling, whether it's at work cutting hair or any time outside of work. I'm sure a lot of people have that, where their brain starts scrambling and going all weird and you don't know what's going on with your mind. This right here is what calms your mind. If you can find anything else that can emulate that, or you can sit in pain but calm your mind through it, it will help you in those tough times, those stressful moments. This is why these things have helped me so much in my barber career. Those fully booked days when it's just, those can be very stressful. I've taught to be able to calm myself through things like this. They're a game changer.
I used to start my weeks off feeling like shit, shaking on each haircut, all because my weekends were prioritized over my week of work. I can't be bothered this week. I've got to talk to so many people. I used to be like that, which wasn't fun, but now my mindset has switched the whole other way and it's more of a gratitude. I get to do all that. I get to talk to all these people. I get to meet all these new people. I think that's a blessing. It is a good thing, but I never used to think like that. I also have more clarity for ideas for the barbershop, creating content around the shop. I never used to want to do that at all. That was like could have a new idea or a good idea, and I was just like, man, I can't be bothered. We'll do it next week. I'll do it then. You can just do it now. Always delaying things, pushing it off, because really, you weren't wanting to do it. You didn't have the energy. I didn't have the energy to do it, so I would push my things off. And that's a common thing for a lot of people. A big reason why I love barbering now is sharing stories with my clients and having the energy to talk about their stuff and my stuff. Being positive and just being present. I never used to be as present because I was always drained and I couldn't be bothered and this and that, which is not the right attitude. I think being a barber, you have to be present and you have to have the personality to want to talk to people, or at least fake it and put it on. But if you don't have the energy to even fake it or put it on, it's going to be a taxing, hard job. And even in the better days, I still get drained. So that's why I'm glad I do these things, because I can take that draining a lot easier and I don't look at it from a negative perspective like, oh, today was so shit, it was so tiring, all these people and blah, blah, blah. It's actually on the other end of that. I'm like, I'm grateful for that. I actually feel grateful for some conversations. Well, a lot of conversations, really. I feel grateful for conversations because they're interesting, and I also get to learn things from clients and hear wicked ass stories. It's a social place in the barbershop. So I've been a barber for 9 years now, and I know a good quarter of that start was just useless. But I know for a fact that this end portion, I've had the most growth in barbering. Why? Because I've been working on myself, and it started with all those daily disciplines. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that you don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start. Find one thing, just one, that challenges you and commit to it every day. It could be as simple as getting up earlier, going for a run, or spending 10 minutes improving your craft. The key is consistency. Over time, those small efforts build into something incredible. Let discipline guide you, and I promise you'll see the difference.